What up, everybody? Good morning and happy Monday. DK Show up on the air on your radio dials 105.1 FM, 790 AM. Also available online at sportstalk1051.com. Stream it up over there. Take the app, take it on the go. Google, Alexa home devices, smart speakers, all that good stuff. Also, video stream up and rolling. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and now Instagram available over there too. So hopefully all had a fantastic weekend and you're ready to hit up a brand new work week here. And we've got quite a bit of stuff to recap and look back and talk about here this morning. What do we got on the good old game plan? Brew Crew, not a bad weekend for the Crew, taking 2 out of 3 against the Seattle Mariners. Finishing it off yesterday with a 12-4 victory. Had the little walk it off victory on Friday nights. Contreras taking the walk to get the winning run across the board there. They did fall on Saturday. But Brewers still 6-2 in the early parts of this season in a NL Central that, at least in the early parts, fairly competitive. You got Pittsburgh still at top at 8-2. Brewers 6-2. The Cubbies 6-3. Reds 5-4. St. Louis sitting there at 500 at 5-5. So Brewers now begin a week-long road trip here where they've got 4 games coming up against the Cincinnati Reds starting tonight. And then they'll finish it up with a weekend series against the Baltimore Orioles before returning home for a quick 3 games against the Padres. Then they're back on the road for 6 more games after that. But Colin Ray picking up his second win yesterday. He's off to a pretty darn good start so far this season. Pretty darn solid start. Aaron Ashby is going to get the start today because Jacob Junis put on the injured list. So Aaron Ashby maybe getting a little bit of an earlier starts than what the Brewers expected, but we'll see how he looks. He's going up against Ashcroft from Cincinnati tonight. So we'll recap the series, the weekend series against the Seattle Mariners, some of the bigger takeaways and such, including maybe Colin Ray. Jackson Cheerio hit another dinger, got his second of the season. Going to throw a little William Contreras talk in here too, taking a look at what he did this past weekend and such. So plenty of Brewers chat, plenty of baseball chat coming at you here this morning. Bucks clinched a playoff spot yesterday, but they still lost. So they clinched it thanks to Orlando and Cleveland and all that stuff. But nonetheless, the Bucks are going to the playoffs, which is no big surprise. But perhaps the bigger surprise right now is just how the Bucks continue to play as they approach the postseason here. They're still holding on to the second spot in the Eastern Conference, but now Orlando's in that third spot. They're 1 game New Bucks last night, 1 game back. Cleveland, who's in the 5th seed, 1.5 back. Indiana sitting there just 2.5 back, and they're in a 6th seed. I mean, for crying out loud, the Bucks are 3.5 up on Philadelphia right now, and Philadelphia is the first team in the play-in game. So, come on, Milwaukee. Let's go now. Let's figure this thing out. They've got 4 more games to go here. Boston, Orlando, OKC, and then Orlando. 2 at home, 2 on the road. That Orlando one now really looking, those 2 games against Orlando in these final 4, those 2 games looking really like, oh boy. Boston, even Boston. I mean, Boston right now, for crying out loud, they've got like nothing to play for. They've clinched up their number 1 spot, and they're still continuing to roll. They've won 5 in a row, 8-2 in their last 10. Bucks have lost 4 in a row, 3-7 in their last 10. They've lost 6 of their last 7 games, for crying out loud. It's frustrating. Bucks, I mean, the first half looked like, okay, maybe going to get that W. But then, second half, stunk. Jalen Brunson scored 43 in the win last night to help the Knicks get that victory. I mean, Milwaukee started off 61 points in the first half and then just 48, giving up 39. Their defense, they gave up 50 in the first half. Then in the second half, what do? They give up 39 in the third alone, 33 in the fourth. It's frustrating. I don't know what else to say. It's frustrating. 14 turnovers by the Bucks last night too. Knicks had half that. Off day today before they take on Boston tomorrow. Then Orlando Wednesday in a back-to-back. Then finish it up on the road against OKC in Orlando. So, I mean, besides the Boston Celtics, Boston's playing really good right now. I mean, you got Orlando that's still fighting maybe to get up to that 2 seed. OKC still fighting within that Western Division. They're one back from the top seed. Minnesota currently holding on to it. Denver in the second, tied up, same record. So it's going to go down to the last minute here. And then you had another injury last night. Chris Middleton getting popped in the mouth, popped in the face. They called it mouth trauma from his former teammate Dante DiVincenzo last night. So, man, what's going on with this Bucks team? Speaking of hoops, we've got the national championship tonight. Purdue taking on UConn. So give me your predictions. Who do you got? Who are you rolling with? Hit me up with a text, okay? 715-830-1912 with your picks for the national championship. Yesterday afternoon, early evening, we had the women's national championship. South Carolina completing the undefeated season, taking down the Iowa Hawkeyes and ending Caitlin Clark's fantastic, historic, legendary college career. So, South Carolina are your champions with the 87-75 victory over Iowa last night. Should also note, too, in case you're just waking up, massive movements within the men's college basketball world. John Calipari, now former Kentucky head coach, John Calipari, he's taking a job elsewhere, going to Arkansas, finalizing a 5-year deal with the Razorbacks. So, yeah, his contract is going to be base salary slightly less than what he was making at Kentucky, but incentives, if he reaches them, has the ability to bypass a number. But John Calipari was a guy that was under a lot of heat, especially after this season, last couple of years, job security and such. But he's making a move, going over to Arkansas, which I know some people are like, you're going to Kentucky? You're going from Kentucky to Arkansas? But, I mean, you read some of the stuff, it sounded like Calipari was, not really having the greatest of times lately over there in Kentucky, and it seems like it's a move that maybe both the program and Calipari need at this point in time. But nonetheless, big time move. So now you've got a big time opening in the college basketball world over at Kentucky. Billy Donovan, maybe the Bulls go back down to the college ranks and such. But massive opening now in Kentucky basketball. So in case you missed that happened last night too. So plenty of hoops chat throughout, but don't forget you can hit me up with your predictions for tonight's national championship game. Anybody think Purdue can get this done? Can they get that W? Can they pick up that win? What do you think? What else do we got on here? We're going to continue some Packers potential prospects as on Thursday we'll be just 2 weeks away. 2 weeks away from the first round of the NFL draft coming up here. So we will we'll continue that and take a look at one or two potential prospects coming up here. There's been seeing some more. A lot of the guys that have just kind of we've talked about already have been really popular guys, whether it's been like Kool-Aid or Cooper DeJean or Barton from Duke and such, or Jackson Powers just talked about the other day. So a lot of the guys that we've talked about have kind of been continue to pop up in these mock drafts for the green and gold. But we'll take a look at one or maybe a couple more prospects coming up here this morning. Also, it is a weekend hangover. So what was the highlights or the lowlights from the weekend for you in the sports world? Make your picks by hitting us up with a text on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line. Also, we'll get to a little Are You Serious Nuggets, sports facts, fun nugget, that good stuff there. Happy Masters Week, by the way. The Masters officially tees off on Thursday with the first round and such, but get ready for a boatload of Masters coverage from all across the board here. Tiger on the course yesterday, getting some practice rounds in. So fingers crossed that the man can actually go out there and compete because apparently, according to his former teammate Nota Begay, who also does some golf analysis at NBC Sports, says he's dealing with some lower back pain, which I mean, it's kind of like a lot of us right now. But nonetheless, hopefully he'll be able to go and hopefully he can stay healthy throughout the whole thing. But definitely the Masters making sure to make a point to post some pictures of him out on the practice or having some practice rounds yesterday to draw that extra attention over there. So we'll make some Masters picks on Thursday, a little bit later on in the week here. So start to think about that just a little bit. Who you got rolling for your Masters pick? All right. So, but let's get things rolling here. Coming up here in just a few minutes, we're going to talk some baseball to open up things here. Brewers with another solid weekend, taking 2 out of 3 against the Seattle Mariners. Now they've got a road trip coming up here, which begins with 4 games against the Cincinnati Reds. But we're going to talk about a few of these players here for the Crew. Kind of again, a little over a week now, but we've gotten a couple starts from Colin Ray, who looks pretty good. Jackson Cheerio, another home run for him. William Contreras had himself a nice day yesterday. So we're going to take a look at a few of these players who have really kind of stepped it up here for the Crew in the first week and a half of the season. And right now, early goings, and it's incredibly early on the season, but that NL Central, it's so far pretty darn tight. Pretty darn tight right now. So really want to talk a little bit about a little more about Colin Ray because I mean, this guy 2-0 so far. 2-0, 1.64 ERA, 11 innings pitched. Just yesterday, pitched 6, the opener, or his first start, I should say, against the Mets. He went 5. But I mean, if this is a guy who can just be pretty darn solid, I'm not expecting these types of performances every single time, although it would be absolutely awesome. But I mean, if Colin Ray, he's 33, he ain't a young guy who we're still kind of waiting for, maybe his ceiling to reach his potential. I think maybe, how much more can he get after? But if he could take another step this year, man, that would make this starting rotation that answer a lot of questions there. But we'll take a look at a few players from this past weekend and take a look at the first game tonight going up against the Cincinnati Reds in this 4-gamer road trip. Maybe this is the true test for this Brewers team, starting off their first long road trip. They started off on the road against the Mets, then came back home for a couple series, 5 games there. But now maybe the season really starts. How does this young team sprinkled in with a few veterans and a veteran manager, how do they get how do they do during their first long road trip? So let's begin things this morning by taking our first break, and then we'll talk some baseball here. But don't forget, send me your national championship picks. Who do you got tonight? Anybody going to roll with Purdue? Not just because you're cheering for them, but do you think Purdue can win tonight? We'll be back in just a few minutes. Tim in the Cooley region, picking UConn by 5. Looking forward to the battle in the paints between the two big men from UConn and Purdue over there. Zach Edey, will he be able to end his collegiate career with a national championship? If you're a bat in tonight's game, is it one of those, or maybe because it's Purdue? I mean, it's not like you're rooting for Ohio State or anything like that. But are you rooting for Purdue just to represent Big Ten and such tonight's game, or are you one of those like, no, I can't do it because it's conference opponent, it's a division, type of opponent there too. I'm like that in a lot of ways. This one is just a little bit different. I mean, I just want a good game tonight. I want a really good game. I don't want a blowout. I want a classic that maybe we're going to be talking about years from now and such. G man, he's going with Purdue. DK would to go Brewers, and we go to the Reds and win 3 of the 4. Bucks are fine. I don't know if they're just fine, man. I love your optimism, but man, oh man, they don't look good. He'll be at Hy-Vee on Friday. So get this, G man. We just I shouldn't say we. Our good friends from Carpet City Flooring Center just upped the ante here for our second annual putting challenge. The Carpet City Flooring Center second annual putting challenge being held at Hy-Vee on Friday. Get this. You ready for this, G man? You might want to hold on to something so you're not falling down or falling off the couch or something like that. All right. So our good friends, at Carpet City Flooring Center, not only are they coming back with a couple of awesome prizes again. Remember last year they gave away a driver and a putter. This year, new Callaway driver worth $600. New Odyssey putter worth $200. Plus, we're going to be giving away some Brewers tickets, Brewers Yankees tickets on there. But get this, because the people at Carpet City Flooring Center are so awesome. Every putt made, every putt made, they're going to be donating some money to Backyard Dreams. That's the kind of people that is over there at Carpet City Flooring Center. They're going to be donating some extra coin for every putt made. So all of you, even if you're not a big time golfer, okay, stop on by to Hy-Vee. We're going to be there from 6 a to 10 a, 6 a to 10 a on Friday. And we want you to come by, try it, even if you're not the biggest golfer, come over and putt. Because if you make it, you're going to be helping out Backyard Dreams. If you do make it, you're going to be entered to win some awesome prizes over there too. Okay? So stop on by 6 a to 10 a this Friday, this Friday at Hy-Vee for the Carpet City Flooring Center putting challenge. We're going to have some Victory Scotch shirts available thanks to our good friends from Resonance Branding Company because I mean it's the Masters. You got a little green and yellow mixed in there and scotch and golf and all that stuff. So Friday is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. So hopefully if you're just gonna, maybe stop on by before work or maybe you're gonna stop by for some breakfast at Hy-Vee or such, get on over there and let's make a bunch of putts. That big ol' if you weren't there last year, you missed out on that big ol' custom made massive putting green that Carpet City Flooring Center built, and they're gonna be bringing it back over this Friday. Brandon and I will be doing a show over there and then hanging around till 10. I think we're gonna be doing a podcast over there too. So it's going to be a lot of fun again this Friday. All right. What do we got here? We got let's talk some baseball to open up things. Brewers taking 2 out of 3 against the Mariners to improve to 6-2 on the season. They now begin a 7-game road trip here. First 4 against the Reds in Cincinnati, and they finish up against Baltimore this weekend. But there's been we got to highlight some players who have been off to some pretty darn good starts. One I didn't even mention in the open, but Christian Yelich right now. Did you guys see that massive home run, that towering shot he had over the weekend? Guy's got 3 home runs so far this season. 3 home runs, hitting 308. He's got an OPS of a 1.033. He's slugging 654. But Christian Yelich displaying some power, some pop in the early goings of the season. Let's tip our caps here to Christian Yelich, a guy that a lot of us Brewers fans have been kind of like, okay, dude, what's going on? Like what's not seeing a lot of the power, not putting up MVP numbers. Did we have high expectations and such? And I don't think Christian Yelich is going to go out there and all of a sudden hit 40 home runs this year. I mean, I hope so. That would be awesome. But he's off to a pretty darn good start. He's off to a pretty darn good start, and you got to give him some credit there. Willie Adames also has a couple of home runs here. He's hitting 300. His OPS is at a 933 in the early goings here. Jackson Cheerio, couple home runs himself there, hitting 281, OPS of an 824. Contreras is off to a fantastic start from the plate here. Leads the team in hits. He's got 12 so far. He's got a couple of home runs. He just had 2 the other night. He's hitting 387, and his OPS is a 1.121, slugging 677. So the Silver Slugger Award winner from last year at the catcher who just got his award this weekend, he is also off to a pretty darn good start, pretty hot starts. I mean, offensively, we've got guys who are stepping up. Reese Hoskins, average-wise, just sitting there at 208, but he's got a couple of runs. How about Oliver Dunn? Oliver Dunn, who's played in 7 games so far this year. One of those guys that our good friend Brandon Berg, kinda talked about after the roster was set and kinda previewed. He broke it down and kinda gave us a little bit of a scouting report on Oliver Dunn. But Oliver Dunn here is just all he's done in his 7 games is hit 318, 945, had that sweet catch last week against was it the Twins? Yeah, it was the Twins. Rocket over there at third base at the hot corner. Because of his play, we haven't really seen Andrew Monasterio play over there. We haven't seen Sal Frelick play over at third, and I know a lot of that is probably due to because of, um, Garrett Mitchell being injured and missing time, and then Joey Ortiz has been over there playing some third base, playing some slick fielding defense over there too. But we've got guys who are off to some really good starts offensively. Bryce Terang, a guy that been talking about a lot last week again. He's got 7 stolen bases so far this year. He's hitting 360. His OPS is an 854. I mean, he just looks more comfortable at the plate. Looks more comfortable. And he's getting the job that we knew he had the defense. We saw it last year. My money, that guy should have been talked a little bit more about for a Gold Glove. I think it's popularity thing a little bit, and I think sometimes offensive numbers do factor into a defensive award. But Bryce Terang, he's also having himself a fantastic start from the plate. I know it's only 7, 8 games in for some of these guys here, but for the last few years, when the main issue for this team has been offense, they're off to a really good start so far. At least I think so. A lot of those guys are. And hopefully, I mean, Bryce Terang, is he gonna finish the season or continue to hit 360? Be awesome, but more likely not. Is Contreras gonna continue to hit 387 and approach 400? Again, be freaking awesome, but probably not. But if these guys can continue to be threats and consistent threats at the plate, gosh, what a world of a difference it would make. And speaking of a world of a difference, Colin Ray has been off to a really good start too in his first 2 starts of the season. And again, I know it's just a couple games in, and maybe some people are like, "Dude, you are overreacting. You're freaking out. You're getting way too excited just a couple games in here." Well, first off, the Bucks have been playing like poo poo, so I got to get something. I got to be excited about something coming out of Milwaukee. And right now, it's the Brewers. And Colin Ray is a guy that I didn't know what the heck to expect from, and I still don't know really what to expect from this guy all season long. I don't know. We got to know a little bit about him, see him for the first time last year, and didn't really know what to expect. It's like, okay, maybe back end type starter, but he's kind of the second man into this third man, I guess, into the rotation here because of the Wade Miley injury. You got DL Hall in there too. But all Colin Ray has been doing, he's little bit more. He's the first 2 games, I think he's been exceeding my expectations. So far, he has just looked solid. He's looking comfortable out there. Go back to that Mets game on the 31st, picked up a win, went 5 innings. Yesterday, what does he do? Pitches 6, gives up 1 earned run in both. He's not gonna strike out a ton of guys. Did give up some hits, 7 total hits there. But if this is the type of performance that we're gonna get from Colin Ray, goes out there, eats up some innings, get you 6, maybe even 7 once in a while, may give you may, log some hits on there for the other team, but we know that Brewers team's got a lot of good defense, and if he continues to pitch like he has in these last couple innings, I'll take that any day of the week and twice on Sunday for Colin Ray. No doubt about it. So far so good. I mean, I don't think there's a ton that we can really complain about when it comes to the Brewers. I mean, we can look at certain guys like, Sal Frelick that got off to a slow start to begin the year, had that nice, double, couple RBIs over the weekend. Maybe that's what gets him going here a little bit. Maybe, for some, Reese Hoskins got a couple home runs. For some, probably would like to see him get up there a little bit more than average. But there really isn't a ton that I don't think we can complain about for this Brewers team. So, unless you got something that you can let me know. I'm enjoying this right now. What a really fun start. Now they've got Cincinnati, a team that was a very popular pick to win the division this year, to get to the postseason. So we get an early 4-game series against the Reds. And when you look at some of the matchups, hey, we're going to get Aaron Ashby tonight. Aaron Ashby was a guy that last year we thought, okay, is he like the next kind of Freddie Peralta guy? They locked him up to a cheapish deal, right? Long term security for the pitcher, but you're hoping maybe the pitcher kind of exceeds it, plays above the contract like Freddie Peralta has done so far. Then he gets hurt. We don't see him at all last year. And then they kind of ramp him up this year, probably going to play a little bullpen role, maybe long relief. But because of the Jacob Junis injury, they've brought Aaron Ashby back. He started off in AAA. I'm excited to see I don't know how long of an opportunity Aaron Ashby's gonna have to be in the starting rotation for the Crew. Maybe it's just a game. Maybe he'll get sent back down afterwards. I don't know. But this is a step now, after missing all of last year. Hopefully, this is a step in towards a direction where we can say, "Okay, that guy's gonna be part of that starting rotation for the next few years." I mean, when we last saw him was in 2022. He was 2-10, 4.44 ERA. He started 19 games, appeared in 27 of those, and he pitched over 100 innings, had 107 innings. I don't know what to expect from Ashby tonight. I don't know what to expect him for this year. I'm not putting a whole lot of pressure on Aaron Ashby, or maybe the best way to say this, I'm not putting a lot of expectations on Aaron Ashby for this season because he's coming off of that injury from last year. But I think we want to see growth now. It's like, okay, Brewers gave him that contract a couple years ago. And it got side railed by his injury last year, but let's start to see some growth. Let's start to see this is why the Brewers gave him that contract. Trying to see like maybe a similar path to Freddie Peralta, right? I mean, I think that would be the optimistic approach. That would be the approach that we would all love to see for Aaron Ashby. I don't know how long he's going to last tonight, but when you've got all these games in a row now, when you talk about the Seattle series that they just completed, now you're gonna have, 7 in a row on the road, but then you got 3 right away at home starting next week. So 10 games in a row before your next off day on the 18th. You're hoping maybe you can stretch some of these starters out a little bit, that they can eat a bunch of innings because, I mean, you don't wanna go to the bullpen too much and really tax your bullpen. Then you're gonna have to make some moves and bring some fresh arms up and down and that sort of thing. But I don't know really what to expect from Ashby tonight. Maybe he's on and maybe he can get some quick outs and not have those innings where it's, 25, 30 pitches, and he can go 6, 7 innings here and not put a lot of pressure on that bullpen. This Reds lineup doesn't have a ton of experience going up against him. On the flip side, Brewers lineup, you got a few guys here. Christian Yelich has had some pretty darn good success going up against Graham Ashcraft. He's had 15 at bats. I should say he hasn't had really great success, but yeah, 15 at bats and just hitting 200 against him. That's by far the most. Contreras, though, he's had 8 at bats, 625. Got a couple other guys here. Monasterio's had 7 at bats, 429 against him. And then you pretty much just have like a, couple of games. Adamas 14 at bats. Got a couple home runs, but just 214. But he does have an OPS of a 928. So first pitch tonight, 5:40. I hope Ashby looks good, and I hope we start to see that growth from him and like, okay, like if he goes out there and he has himself a great game, maybe that's like, okay, we're bypassing that injury from last year. Now we roll. Now we get her going. Let's take a quick break here. We'll finish up the first hour. Get your thoughts coming on over. We got some more picks here for the national championship. By far, it was UConn so far with the majority of the picks here. So, anybody's rolling with Purdue, let me know. Let me know. Okay, 715-830-1912 with a quick text over there. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be back to finish up the first hour after these quick words. Josh is rooting for Purdue because that's one of his teams in the bottle cap challenge. Well played. Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. We've got Ben who's going with UConn, as he says they are just a dang train right now, and I can't see anybody stopping them. We've got Gregory saying he's rolling with the UConn too. We've got we got a little new texter. Looks like Betsy's going with the UConn too. Appreciate the text there, Betsy, on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line. And then we've got Eric, who is also going with UConn. So again, national champ. I wish they would start the game a little bit earlier. I get, it seems like it's such a late affair. I don't know. I'm kind of old man now, kind of griping and such, but man, 3 o'clock comes around pretty darn quick. Wouldn't mind if they would just get this tip it off a little bit sooner there. So keep your picks coming though. Okay. A couple of you did text in your Masters picks. I'll try to remember them. But screw it. I'll just say no. It is Masters week. Okay. I'll admit it. I opened up the morning, sitting in my office working on some stuff, and had the Masters theme on loop. I had it on loop. But we have Matt is going with Scotty Scheffler for his Masters prediction over there. So yeah, I mean we got till Thursday for the first round, but if you want to send those puppies on over, go ahead and do so. Why not? It's Masters week. So Scotty Scheffler, we got a pick there. I got a feeling he's going to be probably a lot of people's picks for the years. I do love this one. I read it, but I don't have a name for the texter. They're going Will Zalatoris because of the Happy Gilmore 2 movie coming out, and well, if you know the story, looks like Happy Gilmore's caddy. So I like that one. Well played to whoever was that texted that one in there. So, all right, we got about 9 minutes, 9 minutes, 10 minutes to the top here. Should know too. We've got another weekend. Well, we got the weekend hangover. So give me your highs and lows from the weekend. But we also have a weekend warrior feature coming up. Coming up, 8:05, around 8:05, we'll feature another Weekend Warrior. If you're like, what the heck? Weekend Warrior, head to our website, sportstalk1051.com, and you'll find some more details over there by clicking that fan cave tab. So we try to kind of a new thing. A lot of you, a lot of us, former, maybe still current Weekend Warriors, highlighting the real passion in sports, right? So what else do we got? I did not get the Masters themed Hey Dudes C-Bomb. I didn't pull the trigger. I still kind of want to. Um, and I think the shipping I'd get it here before Thursday. Well, specifically before Friday, before our event. I didn't have the courage to do it, man. I didn't have the courage to order my size 13s. Hey Dudes there. They looked pretty sweet though. I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I can do it. What else do we got? We've got Seba, or excuse me, we just did Seba, Big Worm. Go UConn. Again, looking forward to the big matchups, old school center matchups. Klingon versus Edie over there. We got also a huge shout out to the Fall Creek girls softball team beating two Division One teams this past weekend. Love the program, Dan. We're gonna do some local sports roundup too, brought to you by Amundsen's Appliance Center. We'll highlight some of the latest on the local scene coming up at about 8:05. So we'll do the Weekend Warrior first, and then we'll roll right into some local sports roundup there. Some more picks here. I'm pulling for Purdue, says Travis, but I think UConn wins tonight. Another texter, have you seen the ratings for the women's national championship? I have not seen the ratings for the women's national championship. I do know I did see somewhere though that the Iowa and the Yukon one beat the Iowa and LSU one. I guess that could have been the Are You Serious Sports Nugget, but I had something else over there too. But yeah, I think they beat that one. So I'm curious to see where the national championship went with South Carolina and Caitlin Clark in Iowa. I have not seen it. Maybe it's out there. I have not seen it yet. So I'll see if I can maybe find some info during the break and search the social media webs and all that fun stuff. So All right. What else? Couple of Brewers mentions here. What a start for the Brewers, says Will on that texting line. Will says, what a start for the Brewers, especially from the offensive side of things. Good to see Yelich get off to a fast start. Jackson Churio with a couple of homers. Bryce Terang looking more confident at the plate. And the pitching so far has exceeded my expectations. Not sure if that's going to last all season long, but it's been fun so far. Another texter, shout out to the offense. Things are kind of clicking right now. I they also asked here, I don't know the texter's name here, but they also said, could it be because Craig Counsell's gone? I mean, we're only 8 games into this thing, so I know there's going to be a lot of Craig Counsell comparisons, analogies, and all that, but I think let's get a full season in before we maybe start to make some of those predictions and such. So another texture here when it comes to the to the Brew Crew. It's been really fun, says Aaron. Really fun to watch the Brewers so far this season. I'm not sure if this is something that's going to continue throughout. I don't know if they've got the talent to be a top team in Major League Baseball, but there's no doubt about it. They have been a lot of fun to watch so far, especially on the offensive side. We got another texter here, Tim, saying, I've been enjoying watching the Brewers right now because it seems like it's been a lot more old school baseball, which I appreciate, being aggressive on the base paths, playing a little small ball mixed in with some home runs. All right, good stuff. Keep them coming. All right, keep your comments coming here. We're going to talk some Bucks coming up in the next hour. This Bucks team that has clinched a playoff spot. They clinched a playoff spot, but they are in a battle right now to hold on to that 2 seed with just 4 games left to go. With just 4 games left to go here. Boston, who hasn't really had anything to play for really in the last couple weeks, but they're playing good again. They've got a lot of momentum as they approach the postseason here. Then you got Orlando twice. Orlando's in that 3rd seed. One of the teams chasing the Bucks for that 2 seed. They're just 1 game back. And you got OKC on the road. OKC in a battle with Denver and Minnesota for the top seed. What the heck is going on with this Bucks team right now? What the heck is going on? I think anything short of a championship appearance probably would be pretty disappointing for a lot of Bucks fans there, considering how the offseason started with Dame and such, but man, do you think they let me throw this out there. Do you think they regret letting go of Mike Budenholzer? You think they regret letting go of Mike Budenholzer? Adrian Griffin, you look at the numbers record-wise, yeah, you can got a better record than what Doc has right now with this team. But I know there's been those memes and graphics that have been posted all over social media comparing the records of Adrian Griffin and Doc Rivers. But what about Bud, Coach Bud? Do you rather have him right now, or do you wish they would have kept him? What do you think? Give me some of your Bucks analysis, Bucks fans, with a quick text or tweet or Facebook message or comment on the Instagram live video feed that we got rolling over there too. So we'll hit up some hoops chat, including getting back to some more picks for your national championship game tonight. As we mentioned, South Carolina completing the undefeated season last night, yesterday afternoon, early evening when they took down Iowa. Also, in case you're just joining us and maybe you missed it late last night, speaking of the college basketball world, big time shakeup with John Calipari. Looks like he's leaving Kentucky to take the job at Arkansas. I know for a lot of people that would be maybe a step down, but maybe this is just the right move for both parties. Kentucky gets to bring in a new coach where they don't have to have that huge buyout. What was it, like 30-some million dollars for Calipari? He moves on his own. Kentucky can go out there, get a different voice to come in. Here's my question. I'm going to make this a poll question. Yeah, I'm going to make this a poll question because we've talked about it a lot when it comes to the NFL world. When you had Jeff Hafley, new Packers defensive coordinator, leaving a head coaching job at Boston College to become a defense coordinator for the Packers, and we've seen, Chip Kelly leaving a head job to be an offensive coordinator at Ohio State. And there's been this narrative of like college football coaches trying to take jobs in the NFL so they don't have to deal with the NIL, all that stuff, transfer portal and that. What about college basketball? So one of the names that's getting attached is Billy Donovan, who's with the Chicago Bulls. Remember, he left Florida, took the OKC job, then he went to Chicago. Would you rather coach? Would you rather be a head coach in the NBA, knowing, let's face it, you've got some personalities and maybe you got some, you have to deal with superstars and whether they want to be there or not. Then you got college basketball, transfer portal and such. Players might leave after a year. Would you rather be a head coach in the NBA or the NCAA Division One? Basketball peeps, I want to hear from you. Okay. We'll make that our poll question of the day. One in, we got two more to go. We'll be back. Second hour kicking off on this Monday morning. Big thanks for tuning in wherever, however you may be tuning in from. Coming up, we will catch up with our good buddy, Justice Cleveland, sports director extraordinaire, WEAU 13 News. Um, We'll do our local sports rundown with him, brought to you by Amundsen's Appliance Center. Now, with spring sports really kind of now kicking it into gear here with softball, baseball, golf, track and field, soccer. We'll get the latest from JC and the EC coming up in about an hour, a little under an hour from now. Also, it is a weekend hangover. What are the highlights, the lowlights from this past weekend, if you will? Let us know. What are your picks? I'll tell you my picks here in just a skosh. But also, we've got what else do we got? We got Weekend Warrior coming up next hour. We're going to hit that up, feature our next Weekend Warrior athlete or team out there. Going to talk some hoops coming up here. Keep your picks coming for the national championship game tonight between Purdue and UConn. So far, wide majority of you going with UConn. I posted up a question on the I'll just share it on my X/Twitter account at DANKASPER here. But would you rather be a basketball coach in Division 1 right now, or would you rather be a head coach in the NBA? NBA, you got to deal with superstar powers, big threes. And if it's not working right, then you got to move on and maybe start over. I mean, there's drama surrounding that. Of course, we know in D1, you've got transfer portals, NIL, that sort of stuff out there. So I want to hear from you, Hoops fans. Make a pick. There's no right or wrong answer in this, obviously. If you don't have Twitter, if you don't have the X, you can just let me know via the texting line over there. Okay, but would you rather be a basketball coach in the NBA or NCAA Division 1? Get your picks. All right, we'll keep posted on how that is working out here. We got Richie. Richie saying, "I love all the Brewers base stealing." We already got a 3 inning save for Vieira. Colin Ray for Cy Young. All right, let's do the weekend hangover. My picks here for the weekend hangover here. I'm going women's college basketball again. We mentioned it's the Iowa and UConn game setting record numbers. I know there's a lot of debate, and I guess I'll throw this out as a question to you too. I don't know if you saw what happened at the end of the Iowa UConn game. It's an offensive foul by UConn, moving pick there, and a lot of people, including LeBron James and others, disagreeing with the call, wishing the game or saying the game shouldn't end on a foul, shouldn't end on a call like that. What are your thoughts? Was it the right call? I mean, I looked at it, I thought it was the right call, but then, you've got others saying in that situation, you just keep the whistle in your pocket, but then isn't that setting up for a precedent of like, well, if it's a foul in the first half or the first quarter, shouldn't it always be a foul? So I thought it was a correct call. For me, I thought it was, but I don't know. I just what are your thoughts? Okay. Should there ever be, maybe this is the best way to put it. Should there ever be a situation, whether it's in basketball, the NFL, or wherever, that if it's a legit penalty, that the officials should just put the whistles in their pockets? And it's essentially a free for, I mean, obviously there's circumstances. I mean, somebody, basketball, like if there's a clear and obvious one, like tackling a person or something like that, then of course you got it. But I mean, should there ever be a situation where, hey, if in the first quarter that is straight up a penalty, that's a foul, whatever, but certain points they shouldn't be called, like end of game situations? Or do you think a foul is a foul, essentially? I'm kind of on the line of a foul is a foul. Was it kind of a downer end to the game? Of course, but I think if a foul is a foul, a penalty is a penalty, then it shouldn't matter when it's called, in my opinion. So let me know on that one too. Okay. Let me know on that one. But no, the weekend hangover, the highs and the lows from the weekend for me, I'm going back to college basketball for the women's. I mean, UConn, Iowa. Outside of that, Paige, Caitlin Clark, record numbers again. You had yesterday South Carolina completing the undefeated season, beating Iowa and such, which also means it's the end of Caitlin Clark's historic and legendary collegiate career. You hope now, when it comes to the WNBA, that can continue and continues to rise. But I mean, you want to talk about record-setting year for viewership and just straight up interest in women's college basketball. Last year, it took a big step. This year, it took a bigger step. So their Final Four, that was a high for me. Their national champ, that was a high for me just because it was fantastic basketball. It was fantastic basketball. So that was definitely a weekend high. I'm gonna go Brewers weekend high because I mean you take 2 out of 3. You had offense coming through 12 runs yesterday. Jackson Cherry, another home run. Yelly with a monster shot. Contreras was hot from the plate yesterday. Good to be right. I mean, considering when you got 2 teams playing in Milwaukee right now, one's playing good, one's playing poo poo. Gotta roll with the Brewers. Speaking of the poo-poo, the Bucks. That's the weekend low for me for my weekend hangover. Oh, they feel like a hangover right now, to be honest with you. They feel like a hangover. I don't know what the heck's going on with this team. Like, I mean, we could point to different stuff, defensively, defensive issues, this, that, the other, but, like, why is it happening? That's what's frustrating. Like, why is this stuff happening at this point in time, right now? I don't get it. I don't get it. It's frustrating. You look at the first half of last night's game against the Knicks, it's like, "Okay, looking maybe they'll get this one." Nope, second half collapse. Last week, you play Washington, Memphis, and Toronto, 3 teams who are not in the postseason, and you lose every single game, 2 of those being on your home court. You lose to Toronto on Friday. You lose to Memphis, last Wednesday. You lose to Washington last Tuesday. Now, yay, great. You clinched a playoff spot yesterday. Wasn't because you won, it's because other teams' situations over there. But now you got Boston, who, even though they've got nothing to play for, playing some really good hoops right now. They got such a huge momentum going into the postseason right now. Then Orlando twice, the teams that is chasing you for that 2 seed in the Eastern Conference. And then you throw OKC in between them, who are chasing Minnesota and Denver for that 1 seed. I mean, the Bucks gonna win another game before the regular season's over with, before they get in the postseason here. They're not that far off from being like a 6 seed right now. They're currently the 2, but they're not that far off. It could easily happen. I don't we could point to different things that's wrong with the Bucks or what's going on, but my question is, why? Why is that happening? Why is that going on right now with this team? It's frustrating, and I just they can't turn it they're I don't know how quick of an out this is gonna be when it comes to the postseason, depending on who they play and such, but boy, and the thing is, like, I don't know what you can do, and I hate to even talk about this at this point in time, but I don't know what you can do in the off season to change. Is a player or 2 gonna make a difference? You ain't gonna change coaches again. It's just it's stinky. It's stinky. Surveyor until a change in the NIL happens where athletes sign contracts with the schools. I'm coaching in the NBA. Um, C-Bomb says, "I would rather be a birth coach than an NCAA division coach one right now." Right? Birth, or are you supposed to say NBA? I don't know. All they do is recruit every year. They have a recruit. They have to recruit the same players. The transfer portal has killed D1 sports and is only going to get worse. A foul, I think this is supposed to be a foul is a foul. A foul is a foul and it should be called. It's like a hold call. It's like holding a call. I'm trying to, you must have some talk to text going on here, C-Bomb. It's Hol like a holding call away from the play on the last second scoring player in the NFL. Should it be called? Probably not, but if it's a foul, the refs are obligated to call that, aren't they? So, would you rather be an NBA coach or a NCAA Division I coach? Right now, poll the X and Twitter is actually going college, D1 hoops coach right now. So, I mean, it honestly, it just depends on what would you rather deal with? Would you rather deal with transfer portals and NILs, or would you rather deal with superstar egos at the NBA level? Which one? Which one would you rather deal with? Both has their downfalls. Both has some positives to it over there too. So, I'll be honest with you right now. I might go NBA. I might go NBA, but if I'd rather not do either one of them, to be honest with you, at this point in time. So, all right, keep your picks coming though. If you don't have the X/Twitter, you can always hit me up with a quick text 715-830-1912. Back to the Bucks here just quickly, just to kind of give you an update on where things are in the NBA standings here. This was, I mean, the Bucks had a chance to maybe even rest some of their guys like Giannis and Dame, and they just screwed that all up here. 'Cause now they got to play it all out these last 4 games here. But with just 4 games left to go for the Bucks in their regular season, they're currently still in that 2 seed, okay? They did clinch a playoff spot yesterday, but Orlando is just a game back. The Knicks now are just a game back. Cleveland, who's in the 5th seed, is 1.5 games back. Indiana, who's in the 6th seed, is just 2.5 games back. Philadelphia, who's in the 7th seed in a play-in, playing some really good hoops. Weird. Joel Embiid comes back, and all of a sudden the 76ers have turned things around. They've won 5 in a row, but they're in the play-in right now. That could change, but they're 3.5. They're the 7th seed. They're 3.5 back from the Bucks right now. Never say never. Western Conference, just 3 teams so far have officially clinched playoff spots, but we know, I mean, it's I hate saying that because if you go to you go, like, to the mothership, ESPN, you look at the standings over there, and they'll tell you that the Western Conference just has 3 teams that have clinched a playoff berth, okay? 3 teams that have clinched a playoff berth. However, only 10 teams now are still alive. Houston's officially eliminated. So, we know the teams who are going to the playoffs. We just don't know if some of those teams are gonna be in the play-in or whether they're going to be, in the top 6 over there. That's kind of the difference right now. Eastern Conference, Boston, Milwaukee have clinched playoff spots. Chicago, Atlanta have play-in clinched a play-in berth. So, still with just about a week, a little less than a week left to go here, lots to play for at this point in time, but it does not look good for this Bucks team. Boy, s I don't I wish I could use some words that I really wanna say, but I'll be honest with you, I'd get in trouble big time if I were to use some of the words out there that I want to use. It's just it's bad. It's really bad. And I'll throw it out to you, Bucks fans. You wish hindsight's 2020, right? We know that hindsight is 2020. But do you wish they could go back to Mike Budenholzer right now to coach Bud? I mean, they're not going to let go of Doc Rivers in the offseason. Doc Rivers is going to be there for a little bit because they're still paying off Coach Bud. Still got to pay off Adrian Griffin. They locked up Doc Rivers for a couple of years. Unless this ownership group doesn't care, and they really think they need to make a move, maybe they would pay 4 coaches. Highly doubt it at this point, but, ugh, it I don't know what else to say. I really don't know what else to say at this point. So, off day today, then they've got Boston and Orlando to wrap up their regular season at home, 2 games on the road, OKC, Orlando. More picks here for the national championship game tonight. A couple more for UConn. We do have one from Purdue. Chris is going with Purdue. He thinks Zach Edey will be able to dominate in the paint tonight. I'm looking forward to the game. First of all, I want a really good game, but I'm looking forward to maybe hopefully a little old school hoops too, where we got a couple big men down in the paint, down below. Are we going to get some shout out to the 90s era hoops where it was a little center play down there? I'd be game for that. But yeah, we'll see. If you're a Badger fan or a Gopher fan, are you rooting for the Big Ten tonight, or are you just like, nope, I can't do it? If it's not my team, I don't care if it's the same division. I don't care if it's the same conference. I can't do it. Every other team besides mine's a rival, so I got to go with the other one. Why? I'm sorry I couldn't get on the Lions bandwagon. That's a division team. Couldn't root for them. This one's maybe a little bit different. Purdue, UConn, and such. I don't know. I just want a good one. I want a classic, an instant classic that we get to talk about tomorrow. All right, tell you what, let's take a quick break, and then coming up here in a little bit, we'll do some local sports roundup. We'll get to that about 8 o'clock this morning with Justice. He'll preview and kind of recap some of the latest stuff that's going around on the local side of things. We've got baseball, softball in action, track and field and such. Soccer's been going on it. We got golf coming up here too. So spring sports season on the prep side of things in full swing here. So we'll uh we'll go talk with Justice Cleveland coming up in just a little bit. He'll be joining us a little bit earlier than that, but we'll get to that. Also, we've got what else? We want your weekend hangover picks, the highs and the lows from the weekend. All right, participate. Contribute with us. Evil Surveyor saying Purdue can go kick rocks. All right. So you got one saying, nope, not cheering for Purdue. All right. Let's take that break. We'll be back in just a few minutes here. We'll get back some more baseball talk here, too. Plus, next hour, we got some Packers prospects preview. The countdown is on to this Friday. Friday. We will be over at Hy-Vee for the second annual Carpet City Flooring Center Putting Challenge. Carpet City Flooring Center, if you remember last year, built this sweet putting green over there. Got some hazards, got some hills over there too. But everybody, you can stop by, try your hand, try to nail a putt. And they've come back with some awesome prizes again this year. You're talking about a new Callaway driver, $600, a $600 driver, and then a $200 Odyssey putter, plus some other prizes. We're going to be giving away some Brewers Yankees tickets for that day too. Plus, Carpet City Flooring Center is upping the ante here a little bit. Every made putt, they're going to donate some money to Backyard Dreams. So again, we'll be there from 6 a to 10 a this Friday. Huge thanks to Carpet City Flooring Center for doing this, and for Hy-Vee for joining us as well. So you stop by there, JC, and do a little putting.
Sorry.
No,
Yes.
you're good.
I mean, I stink at putting, but I will try to stop on by.
Hey, I got to get that brand new driver.
That would be great.
right.
Yeah, I mean, if anything can just add a little more distance to my slice.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take it.
Exactly. So, how you doing, man?
Good.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
By the way, Happy Masters Week.
Yes, we have started. The piano music is following me
Oh, I already
everywhere.
listened to it for 45 minutes straight in my office before the show, trying to do some stuff. I needed some background music, and thankfully, the Masters YouTube page just has it on loop.
Yes.
Oh,
It's just
yes.
it's always a fun week. It really
Uh-huh.
is, and just
And it's your birthday.
yeah.
too,
Wow.
right?
Oh, you remember?
I just remember
Wednesday. Yep,
Wednesday. Because I remember you always saying it lined up around the Masters.
Yes.
So
It's always kind of just a fun week to birthday, and then just the best tournament I think in
yes,
golf.
absolutely. And I know that the Masters themselves were having a little bit of fun yesterday too, trying to up a little more attention by posting pictures of some guy named Tiger getting some practice
Yes.
rounds out there, which I think all of us, a lot of golf fans are hoping Tiger. Oops, there's a light. I'm trying to figure out
That
your
was
camera went
close.
over there too, but we're all hoping Tiger can go out there and be competitive,
Right.
but also play the whole weekend, which I'm still kind of having some doubts, to be honest.
It's
with
been
you.
tough, and
Yeah.
the previous he played, those injuries have snuck up on him. It's he's had to withdraw, but I think if there's any tournament he wants to play the whole weekend, and
Mhm.
the last one he won
Right.
was that 2019.
Yep.
So it's crazy we're 5 years from that.
I know, right?
It doesn't feel like that was that long ago, but there's the black hole of time that happened from 2020 to it feels like now we're just kind of getting back into it. So, yeah, I think if he can do that, that would just be great. And if he was in competition and fighting and for a chance, I mean that would even be better.
You want to talk about maybe networks just having some ratings gold these last couple weeks with women's basketball and the potential of Tiger out there on Sunday. Good Lord.
That would be awesome. And I mean, the PGA Tour coming off a fun finish at the Valero over the weekend too. When you have McCarthy come back and just shoot at 29, was it? I think it was on the back nine or something like that.
Yeah.
And then Mahalia, I'm probably saying that wrong,
Mhm.
but making that putt on 18 and then winning it in the playoff. I mean, you like drama like that, and that's something you'd love to see happen on a tight race for it, which I think it will be. I mean, there's so many good players, and like it or not, this is where you get the live players back into the competition there. John Rahm. I mean,
defending champ, right?
Yeah, defending champ coming back. Scheffler's been on
I was going to say
heater here. We haven't seen anybody this hot since Tiger Woods. So
is he like for all those who don't like the live, help us, Scotty Scheffler? You're our only hope right now for this tournament.
I think so, but now it doesn't even feel like that. I don't even think the people want there to be two like the guys on those tours now are just like, okay, let's just get back together and get this done.
Right.
I think they realize, which is funny because I think this is what was going to happen.
Yeah,
it wasn't going to work. You can't sustain two competing tours.
Exactly.
So yeah, I don't know. Hopefully this week maybe they make some progress with those talks and we get back to a unified tour.
Is the Masters, of all the events you've gone to and covered, is that number 1 on your bucket list?
I would love to. I've never been there.
Yeah.
Obviously, that would be that's probably the one that I haven't
Mhm.
been to that I would really love to get to.
I would just like to go there and just, like, walk the course, you
Well, I
know?
was watching, like, the women's amateur, which was a great
Yeah.
contest as well. I mean, I was thinking, it's like, "Man, that would just be nice to go there and watch that."
That's actually Bosold's plan. Like, he's got this idea, and it's not a bad one, but he's like, "I'm probably never gonna go to the Masters," but last couple of years, he's like, "I'm thinking about going to the women's amateur
Right,
just to
'cause I
walk the
just
course."
gotta
Yeah.
assume it would be. I mean, it's probably still not easy to get tickets, but easier to get tickets than 'cause in the
Mhm.
Masters, you gotta enter a lottery, don't you? And
Yeah.
then you still gotta buy the tickets.
Yeah.
Sounds like getting Packer season tickets.
Right? Yeah. You might
Sounds
actually
very
have
fu
better chances at Packer season tickets for
Yeah,
some of that,
so
but
I would love to, and I'm probably never there's not gonna probably be a reason. Now, if there's some good golfers out there in this area that someday make it to
Mhm.
Augusta, give me an excuse,
Yeah.
and I'll go cover it.
You know?
But, yeah, I mean, I think that's number 1 on the bucket list. I think St. Andrews would be right up there too
Yes.
as well, so
Yep, where golf was invented
right.
over there. I know people have downplayed it, but I still wanna believe that 18 holes was, invented because there's 18 shots in a bottle of whiskey.
Yes, yep.
That's what I wish,
And
but
it makes sense, especially in my game, so
yes. Since I mean, I know it's statewide, maybe a little bit more local, but since we're talking about Augusta, how about I don't know if you saw this too, but I saw, he's been on our program before, Gary D'Amato, post this, but, because they also had the
Oh, the
drive,
drive,
chip, and
chip, and
putt
putt
national
challenge,
championships.
yeah.
McKenna Nelson, from Beaver Dam won in the 14 to 15-year-old age group over there.
Dude, that's awesome, and the
Yeah.
fact that, when we were growing up, Augusta was very, very, very closed off, not
Mhm.
everything other
Yep.
than your members in the tournament,
Yep.
and now that they've embraced this, and now you're seeing that, you have the women's amateur, which was a great again, it was fun to watch over the weekend, and now you have the Masters coming up. It's such a different place now, I feel like, that's good.
Mhm.
It's good because they were very exclusionary for
Oh, yeah.
yeah, so
Yep.
for the change that's come there, I think they've embraced what they are. They are maybe the epicenter of golf in a way,
Mhm.
and have embraced that, and you kick off it's kinda like how Daytona kicks off the NASCAR season.
Yep.
Augusta really, for a lot of people, is the kickoff to the major season. It is a kickoff to the major season, so I think, yeah, it's one of those things fun to get a little more access to a place that was so private for so long.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm gonna before you leave, remind me I want your pick for
Okay.
for the Masters. We're gonna put them up on the good old marker board
Hey,
here in the studio,
did
so
we ever do a Final Four pick, or did I not do one?
I don't think I got yours,
Oh,
but what
man.
was your Final Four?
Purdue, UConn,
Well, yeah, that's what mine
and
was too.
Purdue win.
Oh, you got Purdue winning?
Yep.
Ooh, is that a Big Ten thing, or you think Purdue can
I felt the Virginia getting knocked out early, then coming back and winning it the next year,
yeah,
kind of the same
that
thing with
vibe over there?
yeah, with
Yep.
Purdue. So,
Mhm.
this is about as well as I've done
Yeah.
in whatever bracket over at work, and Philip Shorzay, of course, doesn't have has UConn winning. So
Okay.
if he wins by 10 points because of how weighted the championship
Yep.
games are in all brackets.
Yep.
So if Purdue wins, I win, but if
UConn
UConn
wins
wins,
it.
it pushes him over the top by 10 points.
Yeah. Let me ask you
Okay,
this.
Purdue, you heard that. Get it
Get it done,
done.
Zach Edey, okay?
No
In your
pressure.
final game after 10 years of being at Purdue.
Right. Well, Purdue's
Okay.
always got those guys that are there.
I
Robbie
know. They got another
Hummel,
one coming too, another big guy coming.
Brian Cardinal was there for like 27 years.
Brian Cardinal, that's a name. Holy mo
He
Drafted
was
by the Lakers, I think, too?
yeah, and he had
Yeah.
decent played in the NBA for a while,
'Cause
but
I think he
yeah,
was drafted same year as Luke Walton,
yeah.
if I remember right.
But yeah, he was one of those guys who was like one of the first 6-year guys, I think. 'Cause then Robbie Hummel, I think, was right after,
Yeah.
like not right after him, but it was also because of the injuries too.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
it's a Purdue tradition, a
Yeah.
tradition on any
Big
other.
man in Purdue, offensive lineman, running backs in Wisconsin, it's Wisconsin used to be big men, like big men who could shoot from the 3, but not really anymore. Brian
Yeah,
Butch and John Lure and
and
Greg
maybe those days can
Stietzma.
come back.
Yeah, right? So, I threw out a poll question since we're talking about hoops. I'd be curious to get your thought. Calipari's going from Kentucky to Arkansas. Last night it was reported that he's moving on there. But let me ask you this. Given how transfer portals and NIL is in college basketball, would you rather be a NBA head coach and deal with the egos of superstars and big threes or big twos or whatever they are, or a D1 college coach where you've got transfer portal, you've got NIL. I mean, there's other layers to this thing here too. If you had to pick one, which one would you rather be a head coach of?
I mean, it's probably more stable right now in the NBA. We say
Mhm.
that with the Bucks situation.
Right.
So, um,
Next question, I already know your answer, but I'm going. Yep, we're gonna
but
get to that.
looking at that, I mean, I think Calipari's got to change his style
Yeah.
because with the transfer portal, that one and done style, it doesn't work anymore. You almost have to go back to a traditional, and it's not even like you're going to have these guys for 4 years, but these teams that were getting maybe pushed out by the one and done deal
Mhm.
are back now because they can go out and find these veteran guys who have been playing college
Mhm.
basketball for 3 or 4 years. And right now, to me, that trumps anything that you have with these one and done guys. So for Calipari, who basically that was his MO for the past 20 years, basically was go out, get these great teams like the Kentucky team, like
Yeah.
the Badger place, have them for 1, maybe 2 years,
Yeah.
and then they were gone. Well, I don't know if that's gonna happen so much because these more experienced players are gonna help you win.
Right.
Like, as much as these young, talented guys are, I think the experience of having played 4, maybe 5 years coming into a place as a senior is really gonna help other teams, bridge that gap that used to be there in college basketball. But it's navigating all of that, I don't know if I'd wanna be a coach in college right now trying
Yeah.
to navigate that.
It's almost like you gotta play your freshmen so that they will be happy that they're getting
Right.
playing time, but then at the same time, you gotta be active in that transfer portal. You gotta go and get it's I don't know if I could be a college basketball coach right now.
No, and you're
Yeah.
right. Like, how do you recruit people that are gonna stay happy not playing?
Right.
Like, unless it's I think Wisconsin's a good example of that. You have these upperclassmen guys playing, and then you end up losing a couple of your
Mhm.
underclassmen because they weren't playing.
Well, it's like I forgot to actually mention him in our highs from the weekend. Bo Ryan, shout out, Basketball Hall of
Yes.
Fame.
Oh, well overdue. That should have
Yes.
happened in 20. He was up in 2015 when they made the Final
I
Four.
know, yeah.
Yeah,
That
he
would've
should.
been perfect if he would've got it then,
Yeah,
but
that should have happened so long ago. But yes, congratulations. I'm glad it did happen.
and that's kinda where you're going like, I don't think Bo Ryan's style would work
No.
because, I mean, very rarely would freshmen play. And if they were coming off the bench, sort of Sam Decker was a 6 man as a
Oops.
freshman,
I'll pose this question to you. What's more important now? Is it getting the recruits out of high school
or is it
or
transfer
or is
portal?
it transfer portal? I would argue to say that transfer portal right now is more important than getting people out of high school because
Yeah,
you're going to at least have guys that have a track record in college basketball
yeah,
where you really don't know what you're getting out of high school. And I don't know if that's the way it should be.
I agree. I completely agree with you.
Like when somebody signs to go to a D1 school, what are the chances that they finish with that school?
Well, look at AJ Storr. He's gonna be on his 3rd college right now.
Right.
It's because, I can't see him staying in a draft process, but I could be wrong. But St. John's, Wisconsin, and now wherever else he's maybe Illinois to stay in his home state, but that's 3 colleges in 3 years.
I mean, I'm all for getting the name likeness money.
Mhm.
Like that's fine. And
Yep.
I think you just got to figure a way out with this transfer portal.
Yeah.
You can't just have them going as many places as you can. But I mean, there's court cases pending,
Right.
and I don't even know how this is ever going to get solved or when it'll get solved. So it's
Mhm.
it's. I mean, the product is good. We
Mhm.
can't deny that there's a good basketball product out there.
Right.
It's just a matter of being a fan and how long are you going to be able to see your favorite player play on that team. I mean, having AJ Store for 3 years would have been great for Wisconsin, but
Mhm.
it's not gonna happen because he's
Yeah.
more than likely either in the draft or going somewhere that's
Looking for
he's
$1,000,000,
yeah,
apparently. That's that think about that as a 20-year-old, $1,000,000. You're looking for $1,000,000 right
right.
now. I was just looking for $5 so I could
I
go
was
out on
looking
Water
yeah,
Street and,
exactly.
have a
I was
2
the
for
same.
1.
I was always looking for the ATM that, gave you in fives.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Okay, well, at least I know I have, enough to get
Yeah.
through the day through the weekend." So,
It was
yeah.
$5 pictures one night, and I was like, "Alright, there we go. That's what I got for
No
this
no
week."
one can stretch money better than a sophomore, freshman, or junior in college with $5.
Yep.
Trust me, you
Yep.
make that last for a whole weekend. But
Mhm.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know where it goes, and that's part of the thing with like guard people. Wisconsin more or less has people that are there for 4 years.
Yep.
But now I think he's got to shift to more
Yeah.
of that, finding the person to come in and change that when still mixing it with people that are there the whole time.
Mhm.
And that's where you end up alienating somebody else who
Yep.
signed up to go there as a freshman. So
Yep.
it's a tangled web, and I don't know. I would not want to have to try to navigate that at all.
I'm the same with you, man. I'm completely the same. So, speaking of hoops to the Bucks, so one question I pose, I already know your answer, I think, because you've brought this up a few times. Hindsight's 2020, but do you think the Bucks right now are thinking they kept Coach Bud at this
You
point
know
in
what
time?
I've said the whole time.
Uh,
Like I've said this from day one. I think they moved on too quickly.
mhm,
I know they had 2 disappointments after a title run, but man, that's a guy who I thought was you could cornerstone like Popovich for the
mhm,
Spurs, there for a long time, and you navigate the tough times, and you get back to a championship level. They've made a mess, and
yeah,
that's on the ownership.
mhm,
And, I mean, I know people, "Well, you can't lose in the first round of the Heat." It's like, it happens,
yeah,
but he had a consistency with that team that when they were playing at a good level now, if this was happening to Budenholzer right now, yeah, I think people would really
mhm,
be clamoring for it, but I felt like he kept that team on an even keel, and even when they were losing, at least you kinda knew that they were right there. This team right now is lost,
yeah,
especially offensively. I watch them out there, and you don't know I mean, Giannis is driving so much. I mean, he's gotta be wearing them out
mhm,
because it's I mean, the offense is either Dame shooting a 3, somebody else randomly shooting 3, and then Giannis driving to the lane.
mhm,
I don't understand that. I mean, I'm not gonna claim to be anything of an X's and O's guy when it comes to basketball, but as somebody who's watched enough, you have one of the best inside guys in the league who's playing way too far away from the basket,
mhm,
and then having to rush a shot all the time. I mean, I feel like that's what's gonna happen.
yeah,
And then their depth is finally, I think, showing itself is that they just aren't that deep team.
yep. And
And
Doc's been playing a lot of veterans, you
right,
kinda wonder now, it's like, well, you get to the postseason, you play all your veterans in your rotation, that bench gets shorter. You kinda wonder about, are they getting exhausted,
right. And like
fumed out? I mean, it's
Connaughton's not been bringing anything really to the floor. Malik Beasley hasn't been bringing any. Jay
mhm,
Crowder really hasn't been
right,
bringing anything to the floor. You've got and I like the fact that like AJ Green and Jackson a couple days ago had some great just the hustle that they brought.
right,
Brook, I mean, for all the scoring is great. Brook's cannot play post anymore. Brook
mhm,
can't slide and move like he used to.
yep,
And a lot of times you have him playing on the outskirts so the lane's open.
right,
There's too much of either they're letting guys get wide open threes or guys are able to just drive on them. So
mhm,
for Doc, I don't know if I envy him for being put. He put himself in the situation by accepting the job,
right,
but man, I think he had to know that this was a possibility coming in mid-season
mhm,
with a team that's just gotten they were they've looked lost this
yeah,
second half. There's still time. I'm not going to write that team off just because of the talent that's on it, but also the fact that that talent doesn't seem to be on the floor at the same time
yeah,
ever. So what's the cohesion between Chris, Dame, and Giannis?
mhm,
There's not a whole lot, I feel like.
and you're looking at these last 4 games, they're still in that 2nd spot, but now Orlando's a game back, you got the Knicks who are a game back, Cleveland's 1.5 back. Last week, I thought the Bucks had a shot. Okay, you got Washington, Memphis, Toronto. Win those games and maybe put yourself in a position so you can rest some of those guys, clinch up that 2 seed, and now they can't. And now they've
Yeah.
got Boston, who they've got nothing to play for, but they've won 5 in a row, and they're going into the playoffs with a boatload of
All
momentum right
right.
now. Then you got Orlando twice, and then OKC, who's still battling for the 1 seed, so you gotta play your guys in
Right.
this thing.
What makes you think you can beat Boston's tier 2 team
Right,
if you can't beat the Memphis, Washington, and Toronto combo
right.
that you played last week? I mean, to lose to those teams and the way they lost to them is just embarrassing.
It is.
I mean, that and then to come back and then you have to play a tough Knicks team,
Mhm.
and then you lose again.
Yeah.
And I don't know what turns it on here. You have 4 games here this next week to discover something.
Yeah, I don't feel good, about this right now. But you're right, they got the talent where you'd think it could flip a switch.
Yeah.
And that game last night, Giannis, at least in the first half, was trying to, it looks like you could tell he had the mean mug and, trying to
Yeah.
carry them, but then that second half was just a complete disaster.
When they are such a jump shooting team now
Mhm.
that when they're other teams are hitting, it just seems like they're not.
Mhm.
Especially this in the 3rd quarter. It's been a big 3rd and early 4th quarter. You've just seen them just
Yeah.
go cold. Man, it's like talking about Wisconsin
I was just
basketball
gonna say,
all
when you were
over again
saying
right
jump
now.
shooting, I thought of the Badgers right away,
Right.
settling for jump shots.
I know people are gonna start discounting Giannis. I don't think this is a Giannis problem. I
Mm-mm.
just think it's a game, it's a lot of strategy. How are you not you're not gonna play traditional post, I get it, but your success factor's gotta be better when Giannis is playing within the perimeter
Mhm.
than him starting up at half court and trying to drive every time. I know he's
Yeah.
got the length and we'll see spectacular things out of him, but it's wearing him out and he's taking lower percentage shots now than you
Mhm.
would have seen. So
Right.
yeah, something's gotta happen this week. Get something going. Maybe a win over like a Boston, even if it is probably Boston not really playing everybody would be a big difference
Right.
maker.
Well, and look at it now too. Weird how Joel Embiid comes back and they've won 5 in a row right now.
Yeah.
Like, it's like you might have to play Philadelphia in that first round,
Yeah.
which I would not feel good about, to be
No,
honest
and
with you.
so what happens in the offseason now?
Yeah,
Like
you kinda wonder, okay, is it okay, Brook has to go? Does
yeah.
Middleton go? That's the I mean,
You're not changing coaches.
yeah,
You already have enough dead money paying 2 coaches as it
right,
is.
yeah,
You gonna pay another coach
mhm.
to leave?
I think it starts you hit it on the head, I think. You look at, like, a guy like Brook, and I mean, let's Brook can hit a 3,
Yep.
he can shoot that, but you look at the other bigs who can shoot threes, they can move a lot better than Brook too.
I think this is a big difference of losing Drew,
Mhm.
and Drew is a guy who could really be a lockdown defender. They don't. Even Patrick Beverley, yeah, you're trying to have him as a lockdown well, he's injured.
Right,
So he's not giving you anything on offense right now because he really can't do much on offense. But Drew gave you both.
right.
But, I mean, if they had Drew in this mix right now, this is a whole different team.
Yeah, because his Jalen Brunson dropped 40 last night, especially that second half. Does he go off when Drew Holiday's on that court? I don't know if he does.
Right.
Yeah.
And you just see it. It's the defense cohesion isn't there.
Mhm.
The offense definitely isn't there. No, they're not giving up as many points as they were, but they're not scoring right now as many points either. So
Mhm.
it's a weird mess. And you thought the addition of Chris Middleton should have helped things, but it's not even like the main guys. The main guys are
Yeah.
getting their points. It's just the after that,
It's
if
the
Bobby,
Crowders,
yeah,
yeah, like you said, it's the Pats,
it's almost like they need Bobby Portis to go off for 30 points off the bench to
Mhm.
be in some of these games because there's just so much of a drop off with the rest of the bench players. So
Right. Yep.
yeah, not a fun month so far for the Bucks, and it
Mm-mm.
could get uglier here as the month goes on if they can't pull things together.
Absolutely. By the way, really quick, so we gotta take a quick break, but, I mentioned, McKenna Nelson from, Beaver Dam, who won the, 14 and 15-year-old, drive, chip, and putt. Any guess on what she drove? 14, 15-year-old girl division. She's 15, by the way, so
270.
pretty darn close, 262. 262.
I mean, I've talked to you about this
Yeah.
before, but like watching these high school players and the skill and talent and just the amazing ability to drive the ball and just look like pros out there right away. It's a
Mhm.
whole different world from when we were in
No
teenagers in golf,
kidding.
and I tell you what.
Wow. That's awesome, though. So, all right, really quick break, and we'll be back. We're going to get to some baseball talk too with the Brewers. Hey, at least that's one Milwaukee team that's playing well
Yes.
at this point.
Gotta have
So,
something, right?
right. So we'll talk some Brewers. We'll catch up on some of the local stuff as well. Get back to your picks: UConn, Purdue. Who do you got? We'll get back to those coming up in just a little bit. just a couple minutes left to the top of the hour here. But we spent a good portion of the first hour talking a little bit about the Brewers, another weekend series. I shouldn't say another weekend series, but another series win for the Crew as they defeated the Seattle Mariners. And about a little week and some days into the season, Brewers 6-2. This division looking pretty good. You got the Pittsburgh Pirates 8-2, Brewers, Cubs are 6-3. Every team beside, well, I guess every team's at least 500 above. Cardinals are sitting at 5-5, so 500 right now. So
Got the Pirates doing their normal April thing.
yep, exactly. Jackson Cheerio looking good. Christian Yelich has 3 home runs, including that towering one over
Oh,
the weekend.
Prince Fielder like home run that they
Yeah,
said. Yeah, that really did. We haven't seen one of those in a while there from a
right?
Brewer.
Yeah. So I mean, you've got some William Contreras had a great day. Yet was it yesterday? A couple home runs for him too. Bryce Terang is stealing a boatload of bases, but he's actually getting on base to steal those bases too. So
That's yeah, it's always key.
yeah, offensively, I mean, I know it's just 8 games in, but you got quite a few guys that are stepping. Bauer for crying out, or Dunn from third base when he's not making line drive snags at third base like he did last week. He's doing well at the plate too. So far so good
Yeah, I
for the
mean, it's a
Brewers.
young squad, and this is what you wanna see. I mean, putting up yesterday. That seems like something the Brewers rarely did.
Right.
The last couple of seasons, kind of like last 3 seasons, and then makes it so much easier for your pitchers when you're putting up runs like that.
Yep.
So, Colin Ray getting the win. I mean, pitch it's gonna come down. I mean, how long can this pitching staff hold together? But getting actually timely hitting, and that's what it seems like. It seems like the situational hitting, a little bit better. I know
Yeah.
they had some struggles against the Twins where
Mhm.
they had people on, but you're seeing the ball being slapped to left field from different in right field, different fields of hitting instead of just relying on the big home run hit. And,
Mhm.
getting some home runs too. So yeah, I've enjoyed what I've seen so far this first week of the season.
Absolutely. All right. Shot clock is there. Quick break. After these news updates, we'll catch up on some of the local stuff here too, and we'll get back to some more baseball talk as well. But 2 in, 1 more to go. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. third and final hour kicking off right now on this Monday morning. We've got Justice Cleveland, sports director extraordinaire, in-house with us for the next 20, 25 minutes or so. We're going to do a quick local sports roundup here because spring sports season, man, kind of getting into full swing here.
Yeah, we finally got Mother Nature playing this fun game of chicken with the weather. I don't know.
Yeah.
It just feels like we had such a nice February, and then took a while to get back out on the field.
Yep.
And we're not going to be happening today.
Right. Yeah. No kidding. Before that, something we've kind of started in the last couple weeks here, our Weekend Warrior feature. So shout out to those who still think they've got it or still play for the passion and the love of sports and such. We're going to give a shout out here for our Weekend Warrior. We've got a new, and this is from our good friend Surveyor Sam. Got a new rugby club
Yes.
coming over here. So they will be competing in the Wisconsin Rugby League at the Division III level. Spring season, which is more of a spring training season, according to Surveyor. First game will be this weekend in Oshkosh, followed by 2 home games at Kasper Park up in Chippewa, along the north lot there. They also have a summer, summer sevens season, which is more fast paced and what you would see in the Olympics. Fall season is where they really get serious and they can advance all the way to nationals and hopefully bring home a title. They currently have around 25 guys, but are always looking for more. If you want to come and try the greatest sport known to God, as he said, then come on out.
Wow.
We always welcome newcomers. Practices are on Thursdays from 5:30 to 7:30 at Casper Park. They also have a Facebook page if you want to learn more. There's also a women's club called the Chippewa Valley Vipers who compete in the same division, but just on the women's side, they're always looking for more ladies to join, and they practice and play at Casper Park as well. So
in this past weekend, they had the Ironman Rugby 7 Invitational hosted by the Blue Golds.
nice.
UW Eau Claire hosted that one over at Bollinger Field. So, yeah, I mean, it's a. I've had friends that I was not a rugger.
Yeah.
I don't want to sign the death waiver. I remember that was always the thing they
Was
joked.
that a real thing?
That's what they always joked about.
Okay.
There's like the the liability waiver
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But I mean, hats off to the guys that do it because it is a passion. It takes a lot of passion, and these guys are great at. But yeah, the Ironman Rugby Sevens invitation. I know we talked to them on Saturday for that event, so I'm sure they had some fun on Sunday, fun in the mud over there.
I just have this this vision of the Friends episode when Ross is playing rugby to impress his fiancee Emily. I don't know if you know which one I'm talking about there, but that's the impression I have, and I'm like, I don't know if I could. I couldn't do that.
Oh,
no way I could do that.
Yeah,
So,
it's impressive to go out there and just run full bore, no pads ever. Yeah, hats off to and kudos to all who play.
yes, exactly. So we'll post up some of their info on our Facebook pages. Also to be up at sportstalk1051.com. But shout out, they are our Weekend Warrior feature for this week. All right, let's do some local sports roundup brought to you by Amundsen's Appliance Center. You want to start off with some baseball, softball here, Justice? We've got some games in from the last.
Yeah, I
days,
mean, there
it
wasn't
seems
a
like.
whole. I mean, it was tough to get too much going on this
Right.
last week, but we saw over in the softball realm, we had Chi High versus Eau Claire North right away to start the season with 2 games there, and Chi High getting the victory, pretty good victory in game 1, and then North kind of battled back in game 2. So early season, I think North will be fine. They're going to bounce back from that. If Chi High, once again, just restocking the shed, and it's going to be a tough team, and definitely have a chance to go far, as will McDonald just across the field next door. So
Right.
it's always those 2 teams have always are ready to compete when it comes in. Then you got Falk playing softball, and they're going to be a team to really watch. I think McDonald and Falk softball games at Core Belt will be some really fun ones to see who can come out on top of those.
We just had our good listener Luke first hour say shout out to the Fall Creek. So beat 2-1.
Yes, they played North End Memorial over the weekend. So yeah, I mean that's huge, and that's just a great start to their season. It's going to springboard them into more.
When it comes to baseball, is it kind of the usual suspects when it comes to North and Memorial, River Falls and Hudson? Big rivers wise. I mean, usual suspects. Do you think when it comes to this baseball season?
I think so, and I think it's just going to be one of those. It's kind of it's going to take a while to see who's really the top team
Mhm.
with all of those. I think the Big River is going to be pretty evenly stacked
Yeah.
as far as it goes. I know, Chippewa Falls has a lot of great players coming back, and Easton Bob is the talented player on their team. So I think Chippewa Falls will be one of those teams to really watch on the baseball side. But North of Memorial, always tough.
Mhm.
Right? Yeah, just how good the baseball is in this area. Elk Mountain getting a couple wins already this year. They're going to be tough. Aliva Strum returns a lot of those players on that team that went to the sectionals last
That's
year,
right.
so they're going to be definitely a tough team too. Fall Creek's getting baseball back, so for a lot of them that's nice after a couple of years having a co-op with like Black River Falls. So,
Mhm.
and I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody out there, and I apologize if I am, but it's starting out and it's just fun. It really is a fun time of year to hopefully get more, as this week looks like it's going to get warmer and warmer.
Right.
Things are going to start getting greener and greener, and you'll really start feeling that baseball
Mhm.
feeling.
Speaking of greener and greener on the golf side of things then too, North is always it seems like they've always got a solid team. Memorial, throw them in there. I know it's at McDonald's, we'll put together a good team. I mean, we know the golf in this area, as you kind of mentioned in the last hour here.
Yeah, it's
It's
sensational.
the talent is just unreal here. Kind of the same thing. Kind of looks like with I mean, heck, what you got Spring Valley. That's always they got a couple golfers almost every year.
Yeah.
It seems like
It,
too.
it
So
yeah, and I think Memorial, I mean, they've lost a lot of the core, but still have a returning state champion
right.
on their squad. So I think they'll be fine. They'll
Hmm.
be fine. I think McDonald Regis is supposed to, going to be stacked up this year as well. And yeah, I think North retooling and looking to get back towards the top there with Memorial. Chi High has been playing much better the last few years too as well. So
Yeah.
like we said, these kids are coming out and are just as freshmen are just uber talented. So
Yeah.
it'll be. I love. I don't know. I'm just because I am a golfer. I do take a lot of joy in going out there and
Hmm.
and covering and watching these guys kind of start from the ground level and see where they end up into.
It's something that I was thinking about the other day, and I played high school golf too, and it's something I probably didn't have an appreciation for or look back at when I was playing at. But you think about it, and I'm actually reading a book, and it kind of talked a little bit about this, but you think about high school golf or even like at the college level, the self-policing involved with some of these younger athletes that are involved in it. You don't have
Right.
an official, you don't have an umpire. It's let's I've been there. It's hard to sometimes self-police yourself, also self-police somebody else,
Hmm.
kind of call them out because I mean some 14, 15, 16, 17-year-olds out there. It takes a lot, it's like that temptation, like, oh, did they actually see me, kind of maybe touch that ball or something like that, or calling somebody out or something like that. It's a different sport in that kind of aspect, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where you're not relying and you can't really talk to a coach a whole lot, depending on between breaks and such. I mean, you're a team sport, but it's really also individualized quite a bit too.
Yeah. And I think the big thing is a lot of these kids are playing tournaments,
Mhm.
junior tournaments, even before high school.
Yeah.
So they've gotten that idea of what they need to do. And if you say like a Will Schlitz, I mean, he's been playing tournaments, high pressure probably for the past 7 years.
Yep.
So, I mean, to win a state title and now have a chance to come back as a senior and do it too. I mean, yeah, I think that's the big thing is that these kids have it's been ingrained in them. And
Mhm.
I always wish you played high school. I didn't start playing until I was like 15 or 16.
Mhm.
So I'm like, man, I wish. So like, as much as my kids probably aren't into golf right now, I'm at least I've opened that door
Right.
because it really is a sport that you can do and will stay with you. And as you know, and
Mhm.
I'm probably still too obsessed with my golf game, but it's one of those that you it's nice because even like you go to self-policing, it's one of those that you can go out in your backyard
Right.
and really practice for. There's not many sports that an almost 44-year-old man can go in the backyard
Exactly.
and practice and not look like a fool. Like I'm not going to the park and trying to work on my jumper anymore and stuff like that. But
Right.
yeah, I think that it's one of those that's it's really fun to see these kids grow into men, like a Thomas Longbella now who's doing the mini tours and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah, I was thinking about that the other day because 'cause I'd read a quote somewhere and I'm like, probably didn't appreciate them, but it's like sometimes it's a lot to ask for, some of those younger kids. And I don't think they kind of realize that because I feel like at least maybe when it was during my playing time and such, some people will just join up because, hey, I get to go play some free rounds of
Right.
golf and I
Get
get to
out
go
of
do this.
school early.
Yeah,
Yep.
you go golf and then you go to a tournament. It's like, ooh, it's a little different. It's a little bit more pressure packed. There's a little bit more going on, and that
Yeah,
it's
you
a
can't use
different
the
element.
foot wedge
Yeah,
in a
exactly.
tournament,
Yep.
so
So it's shout out to all the like I got a special place, and obviously I know you do too. Because, but I almost feel like too I'm almost getting kind of that appreciation, that love, or that passion for the game is starting to almost burn a little bit more now in me. Like it was gone for a while. I'll
yeah.
be honest. After high school, it was like gone for a long time. And I don't know if it's just because it's Masters Week and I'm feeling a little bit more nostalgia involved, but it's like, ooh, I'm kind of like, I kind of want to like really go out there more now.
It's
Yeah.
weird because I started playing, and then I think it was, like, within 2 years, I'd broke 40,
Yeah.
like, playing 9 back then, because that's all I could really afford was just go
Right.
play 9
Yep.
up in Abrams, the home of Bob Wickman,
Nice.
but so then I was like, "Oh, I could be pretty good at this,"
Yeah.
and then I plateaued and then fell off for,
It's a
like
drug though, isn't
oh,
it?
it really is, I mean, it's one of the most addictive sports you can do, and now, like, the last and so I have the peaks and valleys where I was bad. I was really
Hmm.
bad, came back, kinda got to a point, and then I think a couple of years ago, I plateaued and fell off again, and my swing was gone.
Hmm.
And I have worked like I know this isn't the Justice Cleveland story of how I redeemed myself to go shoot an 83 or something like that, but like it is one of those still at 44, go out there and get better
Uh-huh.
every time I do. And I had to like rebuild my swing,
Hmm.
which in like a lot of times, like if you're playing a sport at this point in your life, you're like,
Hmm.
if I have a bad softball swing, I'm probably not playing softball
Yep.
anymore. If I can't shoot a jumper anymore, I'm not. But I think with golf, it's one of those that just really. I think it's the perfect time to talk about it with Masters Week. I mean, how much that game, just watching it, is
Yeah.
just the passion. Well, I still want to be out there every day
Yeah.
because there's still that dream. There's still that dream. You're going to have the perfect round. I've never had the perfect round of that. I feel like I've ever shot to
And
where I
you're
was.
kinda competing against yourself. I mean, you're
Yeah,
competing against others, but really it's not like you're playing one-on-one against somebody, in basketball or going up against a defense in football. It's you in the course
yeah.
that you're competing
Right, you
against.
might have somebody out there with you that might motivate you just to do
Mhm.
something, but it's all between your ears.
Yeah.
A lot of it is in between your ears, and yeah, I don't know. I people my wife probably just puzzled how I can show so much passion for something that, you know,
Yeah.
it's not gonna I'm not going pro.
Right.
At this point, I have 6 years to make it to the senior tour if I wa I always joke about this, like, I got 6 years to get ready, turn 50 and get to that point,
Hey,
so
my old high school coach, Coach Vara, I don't know if he's listening, sometimes he does, but last year he tried qualifying for the Senior Open at, Century World,
yeah.
but still able to do so. Like, I don't know if I would love. I would have to really focus, like, part of me almost wants to play one more tournament
Yeah.
just to kinda get that feel again, that competitive drive a
I've
little
only
bit.
done I did it
I
a
don't think I
couple
could
yeah.
'cause I stink now, but that's one of those is, like, you can't take a long break and just expect to get back and, play at a high level, I don't think.
I did a
And I
club
was never at a high level, but, just it still frustrates me, like, why can't I swing or shoot some scores like I did when I was
oh,
17,
yeah. Right.
18 years old?
It's that natural, like, and that's the thing with golf too, is your body changes as you get older, so you have
Mhm.
to adjust everything to that. So something you
Can't
did,
go all the way back
yeah, that
sometimes on the bag.
flexibility tends to go. So yeah, I mean, I'm one of those guys who's like, man, I could used to be able to just drive the ball. Now it's
Mhm.
like a distance isn't there, but the accuracy is there
Mhm.
more. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna say it's always there, but yeah, I think it's one of those. If anyone out there who hasn't taken up golf, I will always push people to go for it, try it,
Mhm.
even if you're bad for a while. Like, if it connects with you, you'll strive to get better, and it's one of those things, like, you can be doing this for the rest of your life,
It
so
it was a transition, I think, too, for me because I was not a good golfer. I would not say I was a good golfer. Um, but, like, whenever I would go with friends in high school and college, there was always this competition, like, "We gotta beat Dan because he plays," you
yeah,
know?
so you're the target.
Yeah, so it was like and that just kind of ruined it for me. Like, I just want and then it finally I got over that, I'm like, "I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go out there. I might more than I know, but I don't have that, like, target or mindset anymore. It's like, "Okay, I gotta play well because they're expecting me to play well,"
I mean, I
sort
was a
of thing.
fiery player for a long time,
And I
and
saw some people in those sort of, like, how they acted and, like, hitting clubs. I could say names, but I won't. But, you know, like hitting golf bags or something like with their club or hearing them yell. I'm just like, now I look back at that. I'm like, no, I don't want any of that.
Yeah.
You know?
There's uphill. I mean, if you just hit like 3 in a row, whatever,
Oh, yeah.
you'll still get it.
Yep.
But I mean, I used
Such a
to,
mental game, man.
yeah, I used to be so fiery. I mean, there's clubs that no longer
Are they in the
play.
bottom of a pond somewhere?
Not in the bottom of the pond, but don't have shafts anymore. That
Yep.
my biggest one was I was playing Princeton. This is when I was first here. I got to the 9th hole and I was at even par. And I still have never shot an even par 9 in my life. I've shot in decent rounds, but nothing ever even or below par. And I got to the 9th and I hit it into the pond.
Ooh.
And so I'm still like, okay. And I hit it into the pond again. I ended up taking a 12.
Ooh.
My 3-wood did not survive. And that was a moment, like, that was a breaking point for me where it's like, you can't act like this. Anybody sees you out there, you just look like a little petulant child, like breaking a club over your knee, which graphite shaft, or not graphite shaft, but yeah, it was graphite.
Yeah.
That hurts. I had a bruise on my leg from where I broke it over. But yeah, that was a point where it's like, you know what, you're an adult now, act like an adult. So that's what this game can teach you.
Yeah.
It can teach you many, many lessons. It'll humble you real quick. So yeah, that was my 43 that I shot with a 12 on the final hole.
Oh my goodness. You tin cupped it.
I did. I really did.
That
was at that moment. I was Roy McAvoy.
Oh, on that note, you know, so I know we got soccer and tennis is going on as well. So would you say this is kind of like we're about week 2 in and
Yeah,
really kind of kicking into full gear on the prep side of things at least?
Really, yeah, now everything's going on. Track and field's been going on for almost, I'd say 3 weeks, almost a month here because they've had a lot of those indoor things. So,
Right.
yeah, I think especially this end of the week, if we get into the 60s like it is, the activity level really ramps up. So, yeah, hopefully we're getting out there a little bit more this week than we did the last couple weeks.
Blue Gold wise, they got a new men's basketball coach. I know you were at
Yes.
the presser. I heard your questions. I was watching on the stream as I was waiting to pick up Hudson in the school line over there.
I've been there.
Yeah. So we're actually going to be talking with Coach Zach on the next episode of the podcast. It'll drop on Thursday.
Nice.
So, but UW Green Bay spent a year over there as an assistant. Winona State, part of that was that run for Winona State, back-to-back national championships. Was a key player over there. Holman native too. What was kind of an impression you got maybe from your interaction with him or just listening to him talk, like a passionate basketball, you know, player? What was kind of maybe your first impressions from
I think passion is a good way to feel it. You can really feel it coming through. I mean, how much he loves the game.
Yeah.
And he appreciates this opportunity. I mean, for a guy to be able to come from Green Bay and get back to here to Western Wisconsin and his first head coaching job be right around his, home in an hour and 10, 15 minutes away. I think it's really cool. But yeah, I think you could see that. And I think the players that were there from the team could see this is a guy who has a track record, a proven track record of winning. What he did at Winona State as a player, not just as a coach, but as a player as well. And then to go over to Green Bay with Sundance Wicks and have
be a part of that resurrection of the program.
Was
really,
3 and 29 to 18 and 14 or something like this last year.
Yep.
I mean, that's amazing to do. And there's similar situations as somebody who grew up in Green Bay to a team trying to get back to its glory. Green Bay has struggled for years since basically the Dick Bennett era.
Yeah.
I mean, the place was hopping. People were passionate. That was the second game in Green Bay. It was Packers, UW Green Bay. Those were the two things that were going on there. And, you had the Tony Bennett of the world, Eric Norgards and stuff like that. That was a huge for him. And it's similar here because I think people are trying to get back to that Ken Anderson.
Which I thought was a cool little nugget that he just kind of said, first ball I got was from Ken Anderson.
Right.
And I thought that was really cool. You just dropped it in there. But I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, and having Ken there in attendance too. I think obviously he's a big supporter of Blue. You'll see him in the stands all the time still too. I mean, I think everybody always wants to kind of get back to that spirit that was. You talk about people from that era, how big it was. And that's not discounting what's happened throughout. There's been really good teams and really good coaches. I don't want to discount them.
Right.
I think they're just looking to get back to, with a new arena, the place being jam-packed and it really being just a center of excitement. So
yeah,
I think Zach Malvick, to me, seems like a great choice.
Yeah.
Again, with the track record, what he's done, just talking to him, you could feel the passion come out. So I think it's going
Mhm.
to be a fun ride to watch and see what happens this year.
You could kinda almost get the passion out of listening to AD Jason Verdugo too, kinda talk
Yes.
about the process, and I thought it was like I can imagine it being a little intimidating when he was talking about, talking with coach and looking into his eyes and just kinda, what he and it's like I could just almost feel that intensity just watching that on the stream a little bit.
Yeah. And I think for Verdugo, obviously, this is, it's a big hire too.
Yeah.
He's had some hires before already,
Mhm.
I guess we got a good Winona State pipeline coming
Right.
coming on right now
With
too.
Coach Riley, yep.
Yep, and then Chancellor Smith too.
Chancellor Schmidt, yep.
Yeah, so
So
it's really, I think it seems like a good hire. It
mhm.
really does. I mean, time always tells with this, but I mean, first impressions were great.
Yeah. So excited to get to chat with him here coming up a little
Yeah,
bit
and I
later
think
too.
it'll be a
So
great chat. I mean,
mhm.
from our little interview afterwards, I mean, just
Mhm.
so passionate and so well spoken. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, your pointers are getting the better of the Blue Gold baseball team here too. I know they got a game today as a makeup from this past weekend. But speaking of Coach Riley, this is his first year. But I think you're seeing a different type of Blue Gold baseball team, if that makes sense from the last couple of years. I mean, there's been some close games. There's been some grind out games. I know last week against Oshkosh,
Yeah.
there was some close ones there in Oshkosh as well, and like point two. I mean, they've had some pretty darn good success in baseball at the
Yes, as
Division
they
three
have.
level. There just seems to be a different vibe with this baseball team a
Yeah,
little bit.
and I think you'll see it. I mean,
Hmm.
it's again, you're back to ground level in building up.
Yep.
And if you can keep guys on the team, keep that cohesion, and you have guys like Walter Johnson who came
Hmm.
back and are playing well,
Hmm.
that will build.
Yep.
And I think there's an excitement when you have guys on the staff like Bob Johnson from the area here.
Yeah.
This area, we're talking about it before. There's great baseball talent, not just in this whole, let's say, a
Hmm.
50-mile radius a year.
Yep.
If you can get that talent to come and play, it's huge. So I think, yeah, I think that team's going to do nothing but keep on rising.
Exactly. And I know softball, they're getting close to starting some WIAC play,
Yeah,
which that's always going to that's like the second part of the season. I know it's conference play and all that, but
yep.
really for softball, it almost feels like that's the real, second half, really when things kind of get going, if that kind of makes sense
Yeah, because you
a
had the
little bit here.
Florida trip and
Hmm.
the games they had down in Illinois, and then to be 10-6 after that, I think
Hmm.
they're excited after a team that kind of finished under 500 last year,
Right.
trying to get those younger cogs to help and get the
Hmm.
wheels spinning a little bit better here. So I think that's a team too we've seen in Leslie, best coaches in the country,
Yep.
getting that staff there. They're
And
gonna get that.
Robin Baker back on staff
Yeah,
too. So
exactly.
yeah.
They're gonna get it going here, and yeah, it'll be exciting to see what they do once conference play starts.
Which is this weekend. They got St. Norbert's, hopefully weather-wise, that'll
Yeah,
kinda play out, but,
I was funny because I think they had St. Benedict. They were supposed to play on Sunday. I believe that's the same team that like every game they tried to schedule with them last year somehow got. It's like a curse or something that they just can't get that game in against them. So
man,
yeah, and then
oh,
Tim
that's
Fader with the wrestling getting
D3 coach of the year, man.
2 awards last
Yeah.
week for just how great that wrestling program was this year. And
Mhm.
yeah, it was nice that he got shouted out during the basketball presser. And
Yep.
yeah, what a run so far
I
with
mean,
that
have you
team.
seen just off the top of your head, I know this might be kind of a tough one, but because 'cause we've seen the program what it was just a few years ago, where, I mean, struggling to even get guys.
Right, you're going on campus just trying to find enough to fill
Yeah,
out the team.
to where he comes in, a few years later, he's coached there, he's got national champions. I mean, the quick turnaround I should say quick, I mean, it took it was a building
It was
that
a build, but
I mean,
to go where they were
yeah,
to where they are now is just amazing.
I can't think of another time I've seen something, like
No,
this.
that's such a build up. The only thing I can think of is on, like, the high school level when Eau Claire North
Mm,
built up to where they were
yep,
when they made it to state. I mean, you get a team that really was. I mean, they were kind of left for dead for a while there. You get
right.
to the point where you're and then Fader comes in with the pedigree he had and just has turned it around and brought excitement to it. So, yeah, it's been just really fun to see.
Absolutely. Yep. Shout out to Coach Fader over there. So, all right, that's our local sports roundup here this morning because we got to let JC out of here in the last couple minutes. But before wait, you got to put the headphones on first.
Oh,
You got to put the headphones on because I can't stall here for a second for a minute here,
hello,
please.
everybody.
Thank
Kasper
you.
on the keyboard.
typing in with like 500 windows open right now, so it's
He's
probably going
about
to take
push
forever
the
to
clicker
load up. Yeah,
on the
gotta
mouse.
let the ads play a little bit there because
The ads are playing here.
come on, here we go. All right, here we go. What do we got? No, we gotta lower it. Can I lower that for a second? There we go.
Yeah. Yes,
Mhm.
indeed, folks. Dan Kasper has gotten the music going for this Masters Week, a tradition like any other.
It'll make me fall asleep
Dan
now with that.
Kasper.
It's like the snoozing app.
You know, your
Makes you
name
fall
kind of
asleep.
rhymes with the Masters Week.
Don't give me any
Dan
ego.
Kasper.
Don't give
The
me any ego.
Masters of Dan Kasper.
All
A
right.
sports show like any other.
Ooh.
Might get sued for that, but dang it.
All right, man. Time to put your name to the first one up on the leaderboard.
And this is going to be funny because I'm going to go with Scotty Scheffler, and it's just going to look like I'm hopping on the.
I'll tell you what, that's kind of where I'm leaning towards too. So I
Can't
mean,
bet against that man right now.
Yeah.
Scheffler has just been on a roll, and it's so fun to watch because he's almost such a common. He's almost like the Arnold Palmer heir apparent.
Yeah.
Or he's just almost seems like a common guy out there with extraordinary abilities.
Mhm.
So I think really I think Scotty Scheffler is my pick.
Now the second part I'll ask you before I go: does T-Dub make the cut?
I think so. I think because of the muscle memory, we've talked about that course with him and muscle memory. As long as his body holds out, he can figure stuff out. He's been from all accounts, has been working as hard as he's worked since winning in 2019 at this. So
Yeah, I just hope that he's in content. Like,
yeah,
not like that last group on Sunday. You know, I don't think he's going to be in contention, but
yeah.
makes the cut, and we could still get to see him on Sunday Red, and you know, maybe second page of the leaderboard or something like that.
I think about 1998 and like Jack Nicklaus making like I think he finished fifth or sixth that year at like 57 years old or something like that.
That's a good analogy. And was it like Tom Watson did it at the Open?
Oh,
I remember watching that one.
That one still breaks my heart.
Yep.
I mean, we were all gathered around the TV, and and that darn hybrid just didn't stick to that green.
Yep.
And he hit it perfectly too.
Yep.
That would have been just still to me is one of those that I wish it almost makes for a perfect movie though in a way, like he got so close and just couldn't do it.
Yeah, I remember watching that one. I was like, come on, like that's when I think I was at that age too. It was like kind of my first introduction or deep introduction to Tom Watson too.
Yeah.
Because was that still his longtime caddy was with him too before he passed away?
Bruce Edwards?
Yes.
I can't remember if he was or not.
Yeah, I can't, or maybe it was shortly after or something like that. But yeah, I remember the caddy story too.
Yeah, I mean, for him to come so close, that to me is one of the greatest. I just remember watching that whole back nine and thinking, oh my gosh, he's going to do it. So there you go. And we were talking about golf when Tom Watson, I think he was 57.
Yeah.
He was up there.
He was up there.
He would have been the oldest major winner. Still would have been. Like if Phil won at 51, I think it was. But
so does that? I know I'm keeping you a little bit late here, but really quick, Phil, you mentioned winning a PGA at that age of 51, right? It was a PGA championship. I mean, Jack in contention, Tom. Should we still have a little bit of hope, Tiger, at 48?
I think so. I think you could have, as much maligned as Phil's been, he's still had good rounds there. So I think the guys who have played that course well, know what they're, have that experience there, can still play well. So I think Tiger could win. If he's going to win another major at this point, it's going to be
at Augusta.
So I just don't think his grind of those other tournaments, not that that's not a grind, but just having played that place so many times is going to help.
Yeah. All right, Justice. Well, happy early birthday too.
Yes, and shout out to Cody Rhodes for finishing the story.
That's right. I forgot. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
WrestleMania. I know we got a few listeners that are going to be upset that I didn't bring that up with you, but so okay. Was it? Did it live up to it?
It was a fun weekend.
Okay,
it really was a great spectacle of sport and emotional storytelling. And that's what you want with wrestling. And shout out to Triple H who has come back and revitalized WWE.
Is that why I saw a picture of him like kind of hugging his wife and crying a little bit or something like that? Was it just
for Cody?
Was it for Cody?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, for Cody, I think it's because his dad never was a WWE Dusty Rhodes, and for him to the story that he had there to leave the WWE, go to AEW, help found that, and then come back and be able to do this. I think it's a roller coaster for the passion that these guys put into that business.
So that would be the highlight probably for the weekend for you, like we do our highs and lows, throw
Well,
WWE in there.
I
Yeah.
think I've always enjoyed professional wrestling,
Mhm.
and the fact that we can say professional wrestling again, not sports entertainment,
Yeah.
makes a big difference too. So big year so far for the WWE to kind of recapture the magic they've
Nice.
obviously had in the past.
Well done. All right, JC. We appreciate you, buddy.
Well,
Thanks for
thank you.
stopping in, man. And I'll probably be chiming with you on the socials and texting about the Masters
Oh,
and golf and all that. I want a good tournament too.
right.
I
Hope the
want it to
weather
come
holds
down.
out,
Yeah.
and yeah.
If Scheffler wins, hopefully it's not by like 10. Hopefully it's kind of
Yeah. Well, Rahm's gonna be there.
yeah.
Koepka's gonna be there. I mean, it's gonna I think it's gonna be a fun tournament to watch.
Mhm. I agree. All right, JC, we appreciate it, buddy. Have a good maybe we'll see you Friday for a little
Possibly, yes,
putting.
for a little some putting,
A little
yes.
putting really quick. So, all right. Everybody come watch Justice.
Oh, jeez, don't do that.
We got to get a gallery for you, man. All right, buddy. We appreciate it. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be back in just a few minutes. Big thanks to our good buddy Justice Cleveland, sports director extraordinaire from WEAU 13 News. If you missed any portion of the conversation for our local sports roundup, we'll have that up as part of the Man Cave podcast a little bit later on this morning, so you can check that out. Don't forget to follow and subscribe to the Man Cave podcast, brought to you by Toyson Ford and Hy-Vee. All right, so let's do a quick Packer prospect player. So we are about 2.5 weeks away from the first round of the draft, 2 weeks from this Thursday. And then either mentioned in like some national mock drafts or Packers players or Packer fans, excuse me, have mentioned these as like, oh, I would bang the table to get that guy. So while we probably have all of our favorites or the guy that we want, we've been kind of highlighting one or two every day leading up to this. Players that have popped up consistently in mock drafts from national peeps, national a couple of defensive backs and such. This one is from Chad Reuter from NFL.com. He usually does like a few rounds. Sometimes he'll do a 7 round mock. I think he just did a 5 round mock, is what I'm looking at right now. But one player that he has listed on there is a linebacker, Peyton Wilson from NC State. Now, I've seen Peyton Wilson. I'll admit it, I've done a few of these mock draft simulators, like Pro Football Network has one and all that. I've done a couple just to see how the boards kind of play out and such. I've seen Peyton in the second round. I've seen him in the third round. And I'll be honest, I haven't seen him a ton, if at all, in the first round besides Chad's mock draft right now. We've had Chad on the program a few times here. Chad actually graduated UW-Eau Claire. Fun nugget there. But he's got Peyton Wilson as a first round pick for the Packers in his mock draft here. So with that, who's Peyton? Who's Peyton Wilson? Well, we said linebacker from NC State. At the combine, dude ran a 4.43 40-yard dash here. And we know Green Bay needs another linebacker. Well, if you're going at that 4-3 base defense, we know they need another linebacker. They need some depth over there too. So this pick makes sense in terms of the depth. The only question I would have is it a first rounder? I don't know if I put him as a first rounder. He's got some injury history. He's got the physical traits, his length and his athleticism, I think, is boosting him up. But his history with the injuries, I think, is what's going to push him down on some of the draft boards there. But we know Green Bay needs that linebacker depth. Sam linebacker, strong side linebacker, bringing in and adding a guy who's 6'4", 235, has some speed over there too. That fits a big time need. He's got ability as a blitzer. He's a talented cover linebacker. He can play zone. He can play man coverage as well, which fits a lot of the traits that we're expecting for this Packers team and this new defense with Jeff Hafley at the 4-3. So he fits a lot of this. He fits a lot of need for this Packers defense. The two concerns I have, though, are the injury history and at what point do you draft him? At what round do you draft him? Me personally, feel like first round's a little too early. Could it be second round? Yeah, okay. I'd be good with a second round pick over there. And I think he's a guy that you can plug and play right away. I think he's a guy that you can plug in, play that strong side on the 4-3, and you can play him day one. I think he fits a big need there. The question marks for me. And maybe if he is a 4-3, he starts off as a strong side, and when you look at the numbers and the statistics, back at kind of how they go now, with how much teams utilize nickel defense, that strong side linebacker might only play 25% of the time. And that might be the other knock. Is like, okay, do you want to bring in a linebacker that only plays 25% of the time as a first round pick? Maybe you get a little creative, and if you've got that athleticism and that skill set, maybe on a nickel, it's McDuffie that comes out on that. You can be creative, you can be versatile in those different ways. But when he's healthy, the kid can play. He's a really good, defensive really obviously one of the best defensive players in this draft, defensive linebackers in this draft, and I wonder about the injuries. I don't see him as a first round pick. I see him as a potential day 2 pick, but he is definitely a plug and play guy. And if he's there and Green Bay drafts him with one of their second round picks, I'd be happy as a clam. First round, I don't know. That one, I don't know. But he does bring some unique like, I'd rather have his profile as a 6'4" linebacker who can cover and can blitz on third down than, say, no offense to Eric Wilson, but Eric Wilson, who's like 6'1", 6'2" over there. I like that bigger, taller linebacker, especially if you're gonna play on a strong side there, potentially going against the tight end and such, bringing that skill set in it to it. I like that part. Again, just don't know. I just don't know if it's a first round pick worthy. All right, we got to take our final break here, and then we're gonna make some picks and predicts brought to you by the Elbow Room here in Eau Claire. Last call for your national championship picks. You rolling with UConn, you rolling with Purdue. Wide majority of you rolling with UConn. Anybody else wanna make the case for Purdue? Hit me up with a text. Time to do some picks and predicts brought to you by the Elbow Room right here in Eau Claire. Don't forget, trivia now Wednesday nights over there at the Elbow Room in Eau Claire. Or if you're looking for maybe somewhere to catch the game tonight, or some baseball games or the races on the weekends too, make Elbow Room your go-to location. And enjoy watching the games all while enjoying a nice, cool, crisp man cave light. We're just gonna do a couple of things over or a couple picks here. We got the national championship, UConn, Purdue, game time tonight, late tip. This is one of my grind my gears. I'm gonna say for tomorrow here, but 8:20 around there. UConn favored by 7.5 in this game. I'm picking UConn, but I'm not going to pick them to cover 7.5. Like a little, I can get it why they're doing that, but I'm for UConn, but I don't think they cover. Let's do the Brewers. Then we've got Brewers taking on the taking on the Cincinnati Reds. First of 4-game road trip to Cincinnati. Then they got 3 more at Baltimore. So first of a 7-day road trip here for the Crew. We got Aaron Ashby on the mound tonight for the Crew. Um, I'm gonna I'm gonna go with the Reds. I just don't know what to expect from Aaron Ashby. I hope he goes out and he can eat some innings and he has a good game. But he's kind of a little bit of an unknown right now at this point. So I'm gonna go. I hope I'm completely wrong every time I pick against the Brewers. They've won. So let's go. I'm gonna go with the Reds getting the first game of this 4-game series tonight. So then we got the Dodgers taking on the Minnesota Twins. The Dodgers coming over to this. Any Twins fans going over for that series? Twins and Guardians, their last game for one of the games got postponed this past weekend here. So Twins 3-4, 0-2 at home. Dodgers 8-4, 2-2 on the road. You got Paxton going for the Dodgers, Bailey going for Minnesota here. I'm going to go with the Dodgers. I'll pick the Dodgers to get that W. So, all right, just a few short games here for our picks and predicts brought to you by the Elbow Room in Eau Claire. Mentioned it earlier, but again, shout out to Coach Bo Ryan, who was elected to the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame. The week prior, or it was a week or so before, a few days before, you started to hear some players or some people getting elected. We heard Vince Carter was elected. We heard like Chauncey Billups, and then you didn't hear anything about Bo Ryan. And you're kind of thinking, oh boy, is he going to get bypassed again? Is he going to get bypassed again in this thing? And found out on Saturday, nope, he wasn't. He wasn't. In fact, he was announced as he is a part of that class here. I'll play a little bit of the clip because he was on set with Reese Davis and Jay Billis on Saturday, talking a little bit about it. So this is just a quick clip because we're running out of time here. Bo Ryan finding out when he or what he was going through his mind when he found out that he was elected to the Basketball Hall of Fame. There you go. So that was just a little bit from Bo Ryan. There was quite a bit more. I'm running out of time here to play a little bit of that more of that clip because there was something that was really good from Jay Billis. Tell you what, I'll save it for tomorrow because I'm pretty sure that Bo might make it for our who got the mustard or for tomorrow. So we'll save a little bit more for that for tomorrow. So all right, shot clock's gonna cut me off here in about 20 seconds here. So coming up tomorrow, don't forget it is a Grind My Gears Tuesday. Who cut, didn't cut the mustard. We'll hit that up as well. We'll talk some Badgers. Well, since we are just talking Badgers, we'll talk some Badgers with Mr. RJ Cardinal as well tomorrow. So we'll hit that up. And a random Tuesday. You got some random questions, some fun questions, or some topics, random topics, fun topics that maybe we should hit up, let me know. Okay. You can hit me up anytime on that Shoe Doctor's bullpen line with the text 715-830-1912 if you got any suggestions over there. DP and Dan are up next. Have yourself a fantastic Monday. Let's do this again tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. See you then.